I am here in the Jupyter dashboard in the current working directory of folder case2 materials. That's the file that you can download for case2. And it's no surprise that I have one Jupyter notebook where I'm going to code in the next lectures. And we have 3 JSON files containing 18 blockbuster movies in terms of revenue. So we have blockbusters.json, blockbusters2, and blockbusters3. And actually, these 3 JSON files contain the very same data set, so 18 blockbusters. However, the data structure, or also called the orientation, is different. And we will see later that orientation matters when loading JSON files into pandas. And there are more favorable and less favorable orientations, so we will see this in the next lecture. But first of all, let's have a look here at the first JSON file. And this is actually nothing new. So we have here a list, and this list contains dictionaries, and each and every dictionary contains key value pairs with information on the movie. So for instance, first of all, we have the Avengers, and that's the movie title, then the ID, the revenue, and so on. And that's the JSON file that we are going to load into pandas in the next minutes. So let's close it here. And let's go into the Jupyter notebook. And first of all, we import pandas SPD and also the JSON module. And with the following code, we can open the JSON file blockbusters.json, so with open, sf. And then we can actually load the data with json.load, so we pass here ref, and let's have a look inside. And so to say, we can transform the data that is stored in the JSON file into a Python object. And we save it in the variable data. And let's have a look at data. So this seems to be familiar. Here we have a list containing 80 dictionaries, and each and every dictionary is a movie. So Titanic, Avengers, and so on, Star Wars. And you can also have a look at the data types. So this should be a list, no surprise, and also the number of elements, so the number of dictionaries with the length function. And in total, we have here 18 movies. And now let's focus on the very first element at index position 0. So that's a dictionary with the key value pairs. And here we have some information on the movie The Avengers Endgame, so revenue, genres, to which collection it belongs, and so on, runtime. And actually, you should already know that we can convert a dictionary into a pandas data frame by passing the dictionary to a pd.dataframe. And by doing so, we create a data frame and save it in the variable df. So this is now the data frame, and each and every row is actually a movie. And in the columns, we have the characteristics, title, ID, revenue, genre, belongs to collection, and runtime. And even if the dataset and the JSON file here is not really complex, so it's pretty straightforward here, but still we have nested information. So we can see in the genre column that here we have a list with genres, and also in the belongs to collection column we have some more information on the collection, so the collection ID and the name of the collection. So still we have here kind of a nested data frame or nested data. And before we are going to flatten the data and care about the nested columns here, first of all, there's also a direct way to load JSON files into pandas. So we don't have to open here the file with open, and we can simply use pd.readJSON. And this is similar to read CSV or read Excel. And we simply pass here the file name, blockbusters.json. And again, we save the resulting data frame in the variable df. And this is obviously the very same data frame as above. So this is actually the more simple and more straightforward way to actually load JSON files into a pandas data frame. And finally, we can also have a look at the info method. And here we can see that we have actually the appropriate data types. So in the title column, we have text data, and also in the genre and belongs to collection column. However, here we have nested data with dictionaries and lists. And also in the ID and revenue and runtime column, we have appropriate data types, integers. Next, let's focus on the nested columns, genre and belongs to collection. So let's have a look here at genre. And here we have for each and every movie a list with the genres. And let's have a look at the very first movie. And here we have 3 genres. We have adventure, science fiction, and action, and also the genre ID. And now let's also inspect the belongs to collection column. And here we have a dictionary with the name of the collection and also the collection ID. And let's also focus on the very first movie, The Avengers. So we have actually for information on the collection, we have the ID, the name, the poster path, and the backdrop path. Now, Pandas provides a way to flatten or normalize JSON files when loading them into Pandas. And we can actually do this with the direct Pandas method JSON normalize. Let's have a look here. And it actually normalizes semi-structured JSON data into a flat table. And let's simply have a look how it works. So we pass our data to the data parameter. So that's actually the list with the 18 dictionaries. And we also define a separator, and typically we use an underscore. And let's simply run the cell, and let's have a look at the effect here. And also with pd.json normalize, we are able to transform data into a pandas data frame. But there's a difference, and let's have a look here. Let's scroll to the right. So we could actually flatten the belongs to collection column into 4 columns. And first of all, we have the ID, then we have the name, the poster path, and the backdrop path. And actually, finally, we could delete also then the belongs to collection column and just keep the 4 new columns. So we were able to flatten or normalize the belongs to collection column. And now let's go on to the genre column. And again, let's use pd.json normalize. And here we can see that there's no difference for the genre column. Still, we have here kind of nested data. And we can also go here inside. So still we have here the lists, and each and every list contains the genres. However, pd.json normalize allows to go deeper into our data and into our data frame. And let's do this. So again, we use pd.json normalize, and we pass our data. And then there's the additional parameter record path. And here we can say that we want to dig deeper into the genre column. And here we get a complete new data frame. And actually, each and every row stands for a combination of movie and genre. So we are starting with the Avengers, and we have the genre ID 12 and adventure. Then we have science fiction and 878 and 28 action. And then we are going on to the next movies. And this causes some problems because here in this data frame, we cannot see which rows belongs to which movie. And actually would require some meta information on the movie. And actually we can do this here because there's the additional parameter meta. And here we can pass a list with columns from the original data frame. And we could be interested in the movie title. Now we have attached the titles here, and for instance, we can see that Avatar has 4 genres: action, adventure, fantasy, and science fiction. And maybe we are also interested in the movie ID, so we shouldn't mix up this ID here, that's the genre ID, with the movie ID, and therefore we can add ID. And now there's another problem because we have the column ID in our original data frame or in our original data, and also here in the genre dictionaries, but we can handle this. And actually we need a distinguishing prefix, and we can do this. So let's check this here. And there's the additional parameter record the prefix. And here we can define a prefix for the genre ID and the genre name. And of course, we could use the genre. And let's again run the cell. And of course, we could also add an underscore. So this makes a lot of sense here. And finally, we extracted a complete new data frame from the genre column. So now we have a genre ID, genre name, and also the corresponding movie title and movie ID. So this is really powerful, and now we can actually save 2 data frames. So one data frame with the information on the movies, and one genre data frame to still keep all information that we had in the original JSON file. Alright, thanks for watching, and see you also in the next lecture. Bye.